Have you ever had a friend who always seemed to need your help? Financially, emotionally, or even just to get by? Maybe you've been the one constantly giving, while your friend just keeps taking. Or have you ever wondered if being friends with someone who's struggling financially could start to hurt your own finances? No matter how much you gave, things never seemed to change. And instead, you found yourself more stressed, more broke, and maybe even wondering if they were taking advantage of you. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Today, we're going to talk about something most people are afraid to admit. How being friends with a poor person can actually make you poor. Let's start with the most obvious issue, the one-way street of financial support. If you're always helping a poor friend financially, you're essentially draining your own resources without getting anything back. It's great to help someone in need, but if it becomes a habit, you might find yourself in trouble. Imagine you have a friend who's always asking for money. Sometimes it's for rent, sometimes for groceries, and sometimes just to get by until payday. You want to help, so you give. But this starts happening every month. At first, you don't notice, but over time, you realize you're spending hundreds, maybe even thousands on this friend. What happens when you need that money for your own bills or emergencies? It's gone. And the sad truth is, your friend might not be in a position to return the favor when you're the one in need. Another problem is the cycle of dependence. When you always step in to help, you might unintentionally create a situation where your poor friend relies on you instead of finding ways to solve their own financial problems. This can lead to them expecting help instead of appreciating it. Let's say your friend gets into the habit of borrowing money from you. At first, it's small amounts, $20 here, $50 there. But over time, they stop trying to save or budget because they know you'll always bail them out. This doesn't just hurt you financially, it also stops them from learning how to manage their own money. And when they don't grow, their problems become your problems. Let's talk about emotional pressure. One of the hardest parts of this dynamic is the guilt. You might feel like it's your responsibility to help your friend, especially if they're struggling and you're doing well. But here's the thing. If you keep giving out of guilt, you're putting your financial health at risk. Imagine your friend calls you, saying they can't pay their rent and might get evicted. You feel terrible, so you cover it. Then a month later, they call again with a similar issue. You don't want to see them suffer, so you help again. This cycle of guilt-based giving can leave you stretched thin, especially if you're not budgeting for these expenses. Over time, your financial stability might crumble, and then you're both in trouble. Here's another harsh reality. When you're the one in need, your poor friend likely won't be able to help you. This isn't because they don't care. It's because they don't have the resources to support you. And that's when you realize how one-sided the financial aspect of the friendship has been. Let's say you've been helping a friend for years, then one day you lose your job or face an unexpected financial crisis. You turn to your friend for help, but they can't offer you anything because they're still struggling themselves. At this point, you might feel resentment or regret, realizing that all your generosity has left you vulnerable. Constant financial help can also strain the friendship itself. Over time, you might start feeling taken advantage of, or your friend might feel embarrassed about always needing help. This creates tension that can damage your relationship. Imagine you start avoiding your friend's calls because you know they're going to ask for money. Or maybe your friend stops hanging out with you because they feel ashamed of always needing help. Either way, the friendship suffers, and the connection you once had starts to fade. Now, let's talk about another issue that's not often discussed. The possibility of your poor friend pretending to stay helpless so you'll continue helping them. It's a harsh reality, but sometimes when people get used to receiving financial help, they might exaggerate or even fake their struggles to keep that support coming. This doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means they've grown dependent on your generosity and might fear losing it. Imagine your friend says they can't afford food, so you step in and buy groceries for them. But later, you find out they spent their own money on non-essential things, like clothes, gadgets, or nights out. They might even downplay any progress they've made, like getting a part-time job or saving money, just to avoid losing your financial support. In their mind, being honest could mean losing a safety net, and that fear might lead them to act this way. This type of behavior can be incredibly draining. You might feel betrayed or manipulated, and it can make you question the authenticity of the friendship. Finally, constantly helping financially can enable bad habits. Sometimes, poor financial situations aren't just about circumstances, they're about choices. If you're always stepping in to fix things, you might unintentionally support behaviors that keep your friends stuck in a cycle of poverty. This doesn't help them grow. and it ends up hurting you financially. So, what's the solution? Does this mean you should never help your friends? Of course not. Helping others is a good thing, but it's important to set boundaries and protect your own financial health. If you want to help, do it in ways that encourage growth rather than dependence. For example, instead of giving money, offer advice, resources, or opportunities that can help your friend improve their situation. And most importantly, make sure you're taking care of yourself first. Thanks for watching. If you've ever been in a friendship where money became an issue, share your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. See you next time.